Dustin? It's the same old, or is it because we don't know which team is going to show up?
Well, I mean, so here's my theory, okay?
Okay.
The team themselves are used to playing from behind, trying to give up that first goal so they can come from behind. They forgot that Demko's back there now, so it doesn't work anymore. Because he's just going to save everything. Because he's looked pretty damn solid. He's been the only up, really. Other than that lucky chance Besser almost had. One good shift there from Sherwood, Heinen, and Bluger there where they generated a couple chances. But other than that, not a ton of major downs in the sense of other than Connor Garland's got to shoot that puck on that 2-on-1. I don't know what he's thinking on that. That's where I get back to kind of, I've kind of touched on that they're a bit overcoached when it comes to their offense. They've been told not to take low percentage shots. And it gets to a point where you take instinct out of these players, and now they don't know what is a low percentage shot or what's a high percentage shot, and they just stop shooting the puck. But on that one, I mean, you're a right-handed shot. You have a defenseman down and out. Like, I don't know how you don't think you can just not lean into that one. Instead, you turn back and wait for reinforcements, and it just makes absolutely no sense to me other than the guys have been told certain things, and now their instincts are broken. And that's leading to these lack of shots on net, and it frustrates me a lot.
Well, it's one of those things too, right? Even the other guy who's on that rush with Connor Garland isn't driving the net. Like, he's just sitting there with sitting right in line with Connor Garland. If the guy drives the net, that gives Connor Garland the free, to shoot the puck and maybe even get a rebound, because that should be a high percentage shot, right? But at the end of the day, the other player who's on the rush with Connor Garland is not moving his feet. He's gliding towards the net, waiting for a pass, I guess.
Well, I think it was Miller, so yeah, he's probably waiting for a pass. Maybe I don't know what the thinking is on that one. Maybe he thought Garland was going to drive the net harder. It just looks like our offense doesn't look like they're firing on instinct anymore, and that's a scary thing. We all know how dangerous these guys can be and creative, and to stifle that is not good. They need to get some more shots through. They need to attempt more shots for starters, because they're not going to score if they're not going to take opportunities like that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried after that first period. I'm going to give it down to JT Miller because I think we might be getting mopey, lazy JT Miller tonight, because even on the change, when it was time to go off, he was doing the same thing as he was on the rush, and he was just gliding back to the bench, where if you're getting off the ice, you better get off the ice quickly to get the change done, because you don't want to cause the guy coming back on to get screwed over when they have to back check real hard to stop it from happening.
And that's where a bit of it, I think, with JT Miller's emotional issues is arrogance. I think on that 2-on-1 with Garland, Miller's view on it is he should have passed to me rather than trying to find a way to generate a scoring opportunity. He expects things. And that's just kind of the air I get from Miller, just the way he carries himself. And so I don't know what's going to happen here, but we'll get into the more of the trade talks and stuff in our talking points here in a minute.
Is there any ups? Do we have an up? Maybe Thatcher Demko?
Demko for sure looks very solid. No, in all seriousness, that as simple as it seems, how calm he looked on that Cooley breakaway is huge. Is a huge up. That was very calm. Just kind of was like, nope, not today. See you later. There was no panic. Read the shot perfectly. That looked like a very controlled, confident Demko, and that makes me very confident as well in this team going forward, because that's a huge part.
I think an up for me is not only was Thatcher Demko stopping the puck, the Vancouver Canucks were also stopping the puck, because they ended up with 12 block shots that period, which is no, it's an up, but it's also down because that means the puck was in their zone the whole time, but we're going to spin it as an up. They also had 13 hits already in this game, right? So between those two categories, they're blocking shots, they're making hits. 13 hits in a period is a huge amount. So we'll give them an up, but I guess the block shots is an up and a down at the same time because nothing makes sense in Canucks hockey land. Let's be honest here.
Nothing is perfect.
Let's hop on over then to the ongoing debate about whether or not it was a good trade. It is the Garland Guenther conversation because for everyone who doesn't know, the big trade that happened in the Jim Benning era where the Canucks sent a first round pick and a couple other players down to the Arizona Coyotes. They got Garland and OEL back, and we all know what we think about OEL here on the West Coast. But one of those things that everyone talks about now, because Garland's essentially the only piece left that the Canucks have from that trade, giving up that first round pick turned into Guenther for the Arizona Coyotes, which is now obviously the Utah Hockey Club. Where do you stand on that debate? And is it going to evolve a lot over the years?
Well, I think this one, I was never a fan of this trade. I wasn't a fan of a lot of the things the Benning regime did. One of the only ones I was a fan of was when they acquired Miller. However, it's going to feel like we lost this one probably forever. Yeah, Garland's an incredible utility winger. He works hard and gives 100% each night, but it took the right coach to elevate him to this point. He wasn't really great his first couple of years here. Once Tocchet came in, it really changed his abilities as a player. His board play, undeniable. His puck control is great. But when you compare the two side by side, Garland's 28. He's got 8 goals, 17 assists this year for 25 points. He's 5'10", and he's only 165 pounds is what he's listed at. On the flip side, Guenther's 21. He's got 13 goals, 16 assists for 29 points. He's 6'1" and 191 pounds, still growing, probably putting on weight each summer. He leads Utah in scoring right now, and he looks well on his way to being a top scorer in the league with his offensive upside and his hockey sense. So, that being said, there's no guarantee the Benning regime would have drafted Guenther in that spot. But it really was one of those moments where we could have used a top 10 draft pick and to help with the retool because they refused to say rebuild at the time. And so I didn't really like this trade, and I don't think I ever will really like this trade, despite the fact that I really love Conor Garland as a winger, but I'd really like to have a player like Dylan Guenther in our organization.
I think that the thing that always got me on that trade was they essentially exchanged the same amount of salary cap because I believe Arizona kept a little bit of OEL's contract. But what that essentially did was rather than having all of these contracts coming off the Canucks payroll soon, they then extended that. And now we're still paying OEL because we bought him out. We're going to be paying him for another like 6 years or something like that. And obviously Conor Garland's contract is still going as well. So they really stunted the ability of their apparent like retool or whatever you want to call it by doing that because they locked in this money for a longer period of time, which is another reason why I didn't like that trade.
Yeah. And, I can see why they did take a risk on the trade in the sense that it wasn't a super deep draft beyond the top 10. But still, you were sitting at 9th overall. You could have maybe traded to get higher in the draft if that's what they were looking to do. But again, they were grasping at straws for help on the blue line, and this was a big trade that Benning went after OEL as a free agent and missed, and so he tried to acquire him this way, and it backfired big time in his face.
You figure a man who's supposed to be world renowned for his drafting ability would have kept that pick and drafted, but who am I to talk about it? Trade imminent? Question mark. Got some news out from Sarah Valley today, whether or not you believe did Do you know he's only like 30? He looks like he's like 50, but apparently he's only 30.
Let's not judge people with premature gray hair.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough, my silver fox. So apparently he's saying keep an eye on the Vancouver Canucks because he thinks that they're going to be one of the teams that makes a move before the trade freeze starts tomorrow night.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
So, he's saying they're aggressively seeking a top 4D and a winger. That's not a secret. That's being echoed by many other insiders. Rick Dollywall was talking about it today on Donnie and Dolly. You know, with some of the moves they've made with the call-ups, which we're also going to talk about, it does look like they are trying to make a move. That with the DiGiuseppe call-up, that makes me think that they're trying to get something done before tomorrow night. It's going to be expensive right now because with the parity in the league, it's going to be difficult to find a dance partner that's willing to sell right now for low. There's only 12 points to separate last place and 16th place in the league right now. So it's likely going to cost a top prospect and a pick next year to get even just that top 4D. So when you add a top 6 winger that you're looking for on top of that, things are going to start moving around in this organization. And if we really are true about the next 2 to 3 years being the window for our cup run, then we're going to have to pay the price. And that's what other organizations have done in the past to get there and get that win. So we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours here, because I believe it's until 9 p.m. tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night.
Yeah.
They have to make a trade. So
25 hours to make a deal. Speaking of deals, well, more like transactions, the Canucks sent a couple guys down to the minors, brought a couple guys up. Shelovs and Friedman going down, and then Carlson and the pizza man DiGiuseppe coming up. Do we expect to see them play sometime soon? Because I know Carlson just got back from injury, got a couple goals right off the bat down there in Abbotsford. Is he going to draw into the lineup, or like you said, is that just all part of this attempted trade by the Canucks in the next 25 hours?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Carlson in the lineup tomorrow night, based off the back-to-back. This could be just picking up reinforcements as they are still battling a bit of this flu. Forbert sounds like he should be good to go tomorrow night, so that's why Friedman has been sent back down. Our D-core is pretty much healthy, save Hronik there. When it comes to DiGiuseppe and Carlson coming up, DiGiuseppe played 51 games last season, so he's a familiar player to this coaching staff, and he's had success playing on the wing with Besser and Miller. I feel like the DiGiuseppe call-up is the trade protection. Given that we're on a back-to-back and the freeze happens tomorrow night, if they do make a trade, that player won't be available to play in the game tomorrow night, and would leave us a little shorthanded. And to bring in a guy quick, ready, that knows the system and can jump right into the lineup in a hurry against a team like Vegas, that's where DiGiuseppe kind of fits the bill. He's only played 4 games this season, but he's been skating a lot more before he got back into the lineup. And the Canucks called him up to get some reps in with the big club, and that's kind of what I see that call up as. But of course, we'll have to see what tomorrow brings.
And then I guess how does that affect the Abbey Canucks? Because obviously they're getting Mark Friedman back, they're getting Shelovs back, so that makes probably easier for their goaltending situation coming up on the weekend here, on the 20th and the 21st, playing down in Abbotsford. Shelovs gets one start, Tolopilo gets the other start, probably then.
Yeah, I would assume so because of that short turnaround on that one. They play at 2 p.m. on the Saturday afternoon after a 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Friday night game. So other than that, I would expect Shelovs to play one and Tolopilo to play the other one. Going forward, however, Tolopilo has been playing great hockey. He's coming off back-to-back shutouts. I would imagine he gets the first game of the series this weekend, playing Friday. And then Shelov's plays Saturday. And then it's going to be a battle for the net. If Shelov struggles, it's going to be tough for him to hold starts down there with Tolopilo showing so well. So he's got to bring his A game when he does get into the net down there to show that he wants to improve and get back to the NHL level.
How do you see this affecting the forward lines then with Carlson and DiGiuseppe coming up? What kind of role were they playing down there before they got called up?
DiGiuseppe was just a utility guy. He was playing down the lineup, more of a checking role. Carlson, obviously, he's returned from injuries. Only played 4 games since his return, and he's scored 4 goals in those 4 games. So he's kind of come back from injury with a fire in his belly to perform, and so he's been skating up with the top guys. However, Manny Malhotra has done a really good job of shuffling guys around this lineup and getting the most out of all his players. We have guys like Ty Mueller, who's been up and down the lineup and has been solid in any role he's been asked to play. We also have guys like John Stevens, who's a veteran guy. He's playing good hockey down there. When it comes to the wing, found a gem in this Dino Cambites for a checking winger that has some offensive upside. So also Baines is still down there, Ratu's still down there. So there is lots of options. Friedman going down is gonna help out the right side. That'll get Friedman more reps, maybe to get more practice in, get him ready for playing in the NHL again. And so we hope to continue that 4-game win streak that we got going and close out this December with a high note.
Yeah. So a reminder, December 20th, 6 p.m., the Canucks play against the Tucson Roadrunners. And then short turnaround, Saturday, December 21st, 2 p.m. It's Ugly Christmas Sweater Night at the Abbotsford Sports and Entertainment Arena out there in Abbotsford. So if you can and want to, go check them out because it's always a fun time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you in the post-game show, brother.
Sounds good. Let's hope for some more shots on net here in the second.
Nothing is perfect.